the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast here on this Monday morning. We're glad that you joined us wherever and whenever it is that you join us here on the Auburn Blitz and making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. Brett and Faith here to get you started here on a Monday. It is a recorded version of the podcast. We have Auburn football practice this morning coming up, and I got a couple meetings, so we're going to be all over the place, but we're glad that you have tuned us in. And, of course, you can comment like you do each and every day on the podcast. And, of course, if you have not subscribed to our channel, we would greatly appreciate that as well. So thanks to all of you that have done that. And to get started, as always, we'd like to thank our partners.
Sensigreen, for air that's cool and clean, call on Sensigreen. They are the carrier experts in the state of Alabama, proud supporter of Auburn athletics and a proud supporter of the Auburn Blitz podcast. With this heat, you want to have a reliable air conditioning unit, and you're going to find that in a carrier unit. And you can save thousands of dollars of the installation process with Sensigreen. And who doesn't love to save thousands of dollars?
Everybody loves to say thousands. Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm located in Birmingham, that they serve the entire Southeast. They handle every project from the pre-planning stages all the way to the finished product. Call on Scout Program Management. Hire them to handle your huge projects, whether it be new builds or renovations or whatever it is that you're doing. You're going to want to have a construction firm like Scout to handle your project, because they're going to be able to figure out all the little things that you don't know anything about. That's what you pay them for. Call on Scout Program Management.
Bunkers in downtown Auburn. With the weather being pretty gloomy this week, you might not be able to get out on the golf course, the tennis court, whatever it is. Bunkers is going to be able to provide you with those golf simulator bays. And before the end of their summer deals, you want to go over there during the day. You can use the golf simulator bays for just $20 before it returns to its normal price. So make sure you go out there. They've got great happy hour deals, great deals for their food during this summer special, and drinks, of course. So go to Bunkers. They're open on Wednesday through Sunday, and it's just going to be a great time there. I can guarantee it. Absolutely.
And speaking of golf, congratulations to Jackson Coyven. Finished tied for fifth in the PGA event this weekend. And, again, just continues to be on a tear. And, man, his future is so daggone bright. But, man, he is not intimidated at all. He fits right in. And every tournament he's been in this summer, he has really competed at the highest level. So comes in, shoots a 67 today to finish up, and tied for fifth. So we all know this. That was just a good segue from Bunkers to that, because I don't know that we've ever seen an Auburn golfer to this level. And we've had some great ones, don't get me wrong. But Jackson Coyven is a superstar.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And can you believe just his age and how talented he is, and how much he's improving from each match that he plays?
He is amazing. And again, somebody as young, like you said, as him, that is just, when you're that naturally talented, I don't guess you just go out there and play golf. You just go, it's just another round of golf to you. And I know there's some nerves, but doesn't show with him, and has already got a national championship under his belt and helped Auburn again compete at the highest level this year. I know they didn't finish the way they wanted to, but still, already in a very short career, he is just continuing to stack accolades and achievements. So Auburn people need to enjoy Jackson Coyven while they have him. I'll just say that. You're not going to get guys like this every year. And so I know Coach Kleinert, great job of recruiting him and getting him to come to Auburn. And again, Auburn's golf team will be right in position again to compete for a national championship this coming up here. So, and Jackson Coyven, a big part of that. Practice this past week and a little bit of inside Jordan Hare on Saturday. for Auburn. Coach Freeze and Keldrick and Jackson met with the media after the practice, just kind of go through some of these notes and some of the kids that are really standing out in camp to this point. Obviously, it hasn't been going on very long. There's another practice this morning. Hopefully the rain will hold off and everything will be fine there. But we're worried a little bit about the rain on Saturday. It didn't happen. So got in some good work, just kind of quoting Coach Freeze. First thing he mentioned was the specialty team unit, said that, it was really good. Only missed one kick all day. And know they didn't have a lot of rush going on, but we haven't talked a ton about that. We did talk about it a little bit last week, but that's going to be a part of the Auburn game that will be a huge strength if Alex McPherson can stay healthy, and I think he will. But Coach Freeze was really bragging on all of the kickers and what they were able to do in special teams.
Yeah, another group that Coach Freeze really talked about was the running backs, and we've talked also a lot about the running backs. And Damari has it sounded like a heel sprain, but he's going to be just fine. And obviously Jeremiah Cobb with his finger, he didn't need surgery, so that's good. But he was talking about these younger guys getting in these reps and how important it's been for them to really start seeing the field and before actually the season comes. And I think that's going to be good, because if some of these older guys are hurt or they're not in, it's good that the younger guys are getting these reps and looking better and better each day.
Can't ever have enough depth at the running back position, that's for sure. And you can see little things can hamper somebody, a finger or a heel bruise or whatever. It's a next man up mentality. And Omar Mapson's supposed to be in high school right now. That's the thing that people need to understand. And Coach Freeze talking about his pad level, the way he runs, and just we already heard Damari Alston the other day after practice bragging on him and talking about how he comes to work every day and really puts in a ton of effort. So look, it's not, we don't have Jarquez Hunter anymore, but you may have 3 or 4 guys. I don't know what that noise is. Is there something sliding around? I'm hearing a roaring every once in a while. Have you heard that at all, Faith? Mm-mm. You heard that? Something's making a noise on a mic or something. I don't know if it's a piece of paper or whatever. But for the most part, you've got 3 or 4 guys now that you can rely on, and I mean that's huge. You need depth in that position, and so good to hear that Omar Mapson's come in such a short amount of time, and is really performing. Jackson Arnold was asked, one of the first questions he was asked is, what has he worked on, or what does he need to work on more? And he said timing routes. And again, that just comes with reps. Coming out of spring, you got, these guys that had come in the portal, and you got more work that, and he talked about that later on in the press conference about the chemistry and all that was going on in the summer. It's carried over into the fall, but working on those timing routes and getting things down, it's huge, because a lot of times these routes and these plays, the quarterback's got the ball out of his hand before the receivers even made his break. So getting that down, knowing the flow, knowing, where quarterback versus wide receiver like to run and how to make those cuts and when to make those cuts and how quick some of those receivers make them versus other receivers. All of that comes into just practice, and that's kind of what he was talking about.
Yeah, and just the connection between Jackson Arnold and the receivers. We've heard how well their connections together have grown. But yeah, like you said, it's the reps and how they're able to start understanding each other and know how each receiver is different in their route running game.
Definitely. Again, Horatio Fields' name gets brought up. Malcolm Simmons really is not working with the first team right now. That may be some internal discipline based on what's happened. I mean, I don't know that. doesn't make any other sense why that would be going on, because he is a projected starter. So you would feel like that's part of that maybe discipline part of this deal that's going on regarding, what he's just been involved with.
Well, we weren't there on Saturday, but I did hear from a couple of people there about how well he looked and how none of this looks like it's really affecting his game out there. And I think that just backs up what we've been saying about how, he still looks good and is still continuing to work on his game each and every practice.
All right, young defensive line. Keldrick was asked about that, and he just said, look, everyone looks more comfortable playing faster, making easier decisions and better decisions. Said the game has slowed down for them, which is huge. And then Coach Freeze kind of backed that up, saying, these guys have to buy into their role, alluding to people like Jay Hardy, Dallas Walker, James Ash, some of those guys. And, the depth at that position is massive. Coach Freeze talked about, the day and age of a defensive tackle, playing 60 snaps. That doesn't happen anymore. So you really got to build depth at that position if you're going to compete at the highest level.
Yeah, and Keldrick was asked about Malik Blockton specifically, and I feel like we've kind of talked about the football IQ and intelligence of a lot of these guys on the defensive side. And, he said that his football intelligence is crazy. It's extreme. And we've talked about it with Anquan Fagans, the freshman. And I think Auburn has done a really great job being able to recruit and start developing a lot of these guys, even though that the IQ and the knowledge is kind of something you're born with, but, being able to see it transpire out on the field, that's something that makes a lot of these guys unstoppable.
Yeah, no doubt. So, again, Malik Blockton, as you mentioned last year, came on the scene and really worked his way in. And now, again, the game is slow for him because of the mental part. And then if you've got the physical part to go with it, you become a force up there. So, again, some guys that don't have a lot of reps, not talking about Malik Blockton, but maybe the Jay Hardys and the James Ashes, but once they get comfortable in that deal, the physical part they just got to get comfortable mentally. Let's talk about some more of our partners here on the program before we dive into some more of this that we heard about on Saturday. Sure Shot.
Sure Shot. They've got all your firearm apparel and hunting needs. They sell and trade new and used firearms. If you have any sort of question, all those guys up at Sure Shot are going to be able to help you. And they're just incredibly, their hunting IQ is going to be a lot better than I think anybody's. And they're going to be the people that you want to call on. And it's getting time for the season is coming back in action. So you want to make sure you're doing all your target shooting and get all your ammo ready for the season. So call them at 256-329-0080. And Oliver Ross, if you've got a party of 20 all the way up to 20,000, Oliver Ross is going to be the bartending service for you, whether it's tailgates this fall, after parties this fall, or anything that has to do with sorority, fraternity, date parties, weddings. Oliver Ross is going to come in there. They're going to set up their whole thing, make sure to serve you and keep all your guests happy when it comes to the hydration station for them. And they're going to take it all down and get out of there like they were never there. So call on Oliver Ross.
Great partners. All of our partners are really, really good. We appreciate all of them. Jackson was asked about the defensive backs, and he said he loves the defensive backs. And naturally, when you go against top-ranked DBs and your wide receivers are going against top-ranked DBs and your DBs are going against top-ranked wide receivers, then you get to the game and you don't see anybody that's better than what you see in practice every day. That's why elite teams win so many games, because they have better players that they go against in practice than other teams can put out there against them in a game. And every, certain positions, you might have a guy that's comparable, but, let's just face it. The reason Georgia and Alabama they win so many dang football games is because they have a better roster than a lot of teams, in most teams. And then what they go against in practice is tougher than what they see with the majority of their schedule, maybe save a couple of teams. So I think Auburn in those two areas have elite players. And what Jackson Arnold's saying is, look, all it's doing is pushing our guys to get better on the offensive side. And then, of course, when our DBs have to cover Malcolm Simmons and Eric Singleton and Cam Coleman and those guys, it's just who are they going to face that's any better than them? There may be some that they face that's comparable, but they're not going to go out as a whole and face a better unit than what they go against in practice every day.
Yeah, no, I think it's you want to play against guys that are equal to or better than you so that you can be pushed and ready for the next guys. And, being able to talk about the competition between your team within each other, it's just pushing each other to get better. And I think we've heard that from a lot of these guys and how each guy on the field is pushing the next one to be better. And you can see the unity in the team as well when talking about each other.
A couple more notes. Coach Freeze was talking about depth in the cornerback room, talking about, we're 6 deep there. And what that does in practice is that forces everybody to go 110 on every snap because somebody behind you can take your reps. And he talked about that. And I thought that was key. Again, the old adage, iron sharpens iron. And that's what's so good about building finally a roster where guys out on the practice field go, okay, I've got to bring it every day. And when you don't have that competition in the roster to the level it is now, a guy that's comfortable in his starting position may not get challenged and may not push himself to be the best. And because he knows, hey, the coaching staff has no choice but to play me. And that changes when you get 2 guys behind you going, okay, you don't want to go as hard. I'm going to outwork you, and I'm going to show the coaches I want your position more than you want it. So, yeah, it's an old adage. It just everybody's better when you got competition going on.
I love when Keldrick talks about his relationship with his younger brother at Auburn and JJ and how they're able to give it to each other on the field. And, I grew up with a brother and it didn't matter what we did, but there was always competition between us and always some smack talking going on between us. And, I think Keldrick and JJ had a little bit of a problem with Keldrick, but, it's good to see that they're able to play together and help. Keldrick's able to help him. And, I think Keldrick looks at a lot of these younger guys in the same class as JJ as his brothers as well. And we heard that from him during media days. And then just knowing that it's still growing now is really good to hear.
It's going to be good to see those 2 guys on the field together and just the talent level. And, Coach Freeze talked about, in the old days, I guess, you wouldn't have a guy like JJ out there on the field because you're worried. All you're doing is wanting to develop him and him get into the system and, a year or 2 down the line, be prepped to be a guy that can come in. That's not the way it is anymore. These guys come in, expect to play, and you have to play them because if they're the best you have at that position, then they're going to get on the field. And, it was always unheard of back in the day to play a freshman. That is not the case anymore. And I hate to keep bringing up Alabama and Georgia, but even on teams that have won so many games over the last 10, 15 years, like those 2 programs have, they've played numerous freshmen. And so it doesn't matter. Some of these guys coming out of high school are SEC game ready. They can get the mental part down. They can get the plays down. They're ready to go. These high 5-star guys, they can be interjected immediately and make an impact. So, yeah, I mean, JJ Fault looks the part. He obviously is very, very quick to pick up on what he needs to pick up on the defensive side. So, I expect him, along with a lot of these other younger linebackers that Coach Freeze talked about, said we're just so much faster at that position. And, we all were worried a little bit about that. We ranked that position group low because of the inexperience, not because the talent's not there, but you rank it low because a lot of these guys just haven't had the reps, and some of them haven't even put on an Auburn jersey yet. So it could be the surprise position group when we go back and do an evaluation, and we go back maybe halfway through the season and at the end of the season, Faith, and we go, okay, we said we knew the offensive line and the wide receivers and the DBs were going to be our top three position groups, but you know what may jump up there in the top is this linebacker core, because they have some really, really talented players there.
They do, and just like you said, getting developed and getting those reps in. I think something that just was really talked about the past couple weeks of practice has just been the reps all over the roster and how important it's been for everybody to see different reps. And like you said earlier, that's just the way that you're going to get better. No
doubt about it. Just kind of wrapping up from Saturday, not a lot of, we kind of talked about injuries, but Pleasant sprained an ankle, but it was negative. Really not much else to talk about other than what you said earlier with, a couple of small injuries that, nothing major. They're just going to hold them out to make sure they can get as healthy as possible. And that's really it. So you want to be as healthy as you possibly can heading into first week. And they really hadn't put the pads on yet full. And that's coming up very, very soon. So, and when you do that, it's about managing how much you want to go and how hard you want to go. You got to be physical in practice. You can't be scared about that, because you've got to be able to, rep what you're going to get in a game, but you also don't want to go out there and kill each other and have two or three of your better players not even get a chance to start the season. So it's all about a management deal there, and how you kind of balance all that, I reckon, is how you come up with it. So we'll see how that all kind of plays out. Let's get to a couple more of our partners here. We appreciate them so very much. Old Number One Customs.
Old Number One Customs, if you've got a bathroom, outdoor living space, kitchen, anything, while your kids are going back to school, go ahead and get Old Number One Customs at your house, because they're going to be in and out in just 2 weeks. And that's a crazy time frame for anything to get renovated in. Brett, you're dealing with them right now and having a great experience. Really looking forward to that video that we're going to have once they actually start the renovation process. And again, I can't believe just 2 weeks.
Yeah, that seems impossible, but they get it done, and that's what good reputable contractors do. Call them 334-752-6162.
Brett, you might as well get a Home Atlas water filter duo put in while this is all going on.
Yeah, might as well. Just go ahead and add it to the bill, right?
Just $15.99. But Brett, I can tell you what, you don't want to have that medical bill for when you've got nasty mold or hard water that's been ingested into your body, or Copper's body. Could you imagine? He's already got those heart murmurs. You don't need anything else. And so a Home Atlas water filter duo is going to make sure that you've got filtered water throughout every single faucet in your house. And that's so important when you are supposed to be drinking as much water as you should be. You don't want to have a little Brita filter on every single one of your faucets. That takes way too long. So go ahead and get a Home Atlas water filter duo put in, and call on them at 844-JFA-BLUE.
Can't say enough about all of our partners. We appreciate them so very much. Just one more thing that we'll talk about here before we go off. Thought it was interesting. A couple of sites, The Athletic, DraftKings. I like this because you kind of know how expensive and how valuable these college programs are. And if you think it's an amateur sport, you're just, your head's in the sand.
We really went over the other day. I don't think it was on air, but the definition of amateur.
Yeah, it wasn't on air. Yeah, I don't know that there even is a definition of amateur.
Well, the by dictionary definition is somebody that is unpaid.
Right.
Well, with NIL and everything,
All that's out the window.
does that make everybody in college
a non-amateur, right? So,
anyway?
I mean, that's kind of where we've been going with all of this for the last 2 or 3 months. And, then you look at the top programs. Where does Auburn rank? What is, this is wild. The top, I guess, projected value on that program, if they were to sell it on the open market like a NFL team, number one in the country is Texas at $2.38 billion.
Would you believe that?
Yeah, I would believe it 100%. Just like Coach Tuberville said. Coach Tuberville said if they spend $40 million and don't win it, the whole damn bunch should be fired. And that's exactly his quote from this past weekend, which was crazy that, and this is, I found this out. Literally, he was on with us. And you know what interview he went to after hours? Fox News.
Oh.
As soon as he got off with us, he rolled to Fox News. So just thought I'd throw that out there. But anyway,
I feel very honored still to this day.
No question. But Texas and then Georgia behind them at $1.92 billion. I think $1 billion, everybody. Then you have a non-SEC team, Ohio. The first non-SEC team, Ohio State, comes in at third, $1.9 billion. Notre Dame comes in at fourth, $1.85. Michigan fifth, $1.83. Then Alabama comes in at sixth at $1.74 billion. And then you look at it, you go all the way down. Auburn comes in as the eighth team in the SEC, and they are the last team to have a value of over $1 billion in this group. At $1.06 billion, Auburn comes in with an annual projected revenue of football only at $118.2 million. How does that project against Texas? Texas brings in $183 million. Georgia brings in $147 million. Alabama brings in $133 million. But then there's LSU at 102. And then a USC at just 71.3. And then you look at Auburn, even higher than Florida, at 118, higher than Penn State, higher than LSU. I mean, Auburn's up there in football revenue, and they are ranked ahead of Oregon in value, which I thought was a little bit shocking, to be honest. And it's not much, as Oregon has a value of $990 million, but they have never won an SEC championship. I mean, a national championship, and Auburn has. So maybe that's where that's coming from. But anyway, I thought that was an interesting list.
It didn't shock me where Auburn was on that list, because it seems like in every list recently, we've been towards the bottom of it. Doesn't matter what it is, but always Auburn is down towards the bottom, below half. I was shocked that Texas A&M was at the very last one in this list at number 9 in the SEC, because,
right.
We talk about Texas and how much money Texas has, just as the state. So I was shocked there when I saw that they were,
But Auburn is the 13th highest valued program in all of college football.
Right.
It's huge. But you know where that puts them in the SEC, like you said, 8th.
Right.
So 9 of the 15 teams in the on this list are SEC teams. That's wild.
Just shows how dominating the SEC is in everything.
In every single thing. So just thought we'd throw that out there for everybody to kind of chew on a little bit. So Auburn, I mean, again, when you think, oh, well, Auburn's falling off. No, they're valued as one of the top 15 programs in the country. And their football revenue comes in a little bit higher than that. They're on up there. I mean, Ohio State brings in $116 million. Auburn brings in $118 million. So
that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
I would like just one of those million or billions.
It would be nice, yeah.
Never anybody wants to offer.
Yeah, I mean, what the heck? So Also, the I guess you call it a rummage sale. This happened this past weekend. Looked like it was crazy.
I heard that people were waiting out there since
6, 8.
11 o'clock in the morning and then getting in at 6 o'clock.
Yes. Yes.
I am so glad that we decided, oh, maybe we'll go over there and peek in. And then, the day kind of slipped away and we were like, maybe we won't. Oh, if I would have gone there and seen what was going on, I think I would have said, see ya. Not happening.
Yeah, great deals and all, not standing in all those lines. But anyway, some really good stuff. I mean, cleaned the entire athletic department out of all the Under Armour stuff. I mean, real football jerseys, real baseball jerseys, basketball stuff, all that for $35. I mean, good Lord. Shoes, hats, shirts, all kind of stuff. People I've seen pictures, got just so much stuff, so much cool stuff. But now I'm not going to stand in that line. So congratulations to those that did and got some stuff, and should be proud of all. At least
the weather wasn't awful,
right? Absolutely,
or too hot.
Yeah, had a little cloud cover.
Passing out in the parking lots. I could have been bad.
Could have.
Who knows what that number would be at now with how much everything is worth if people are passing out.
I think we'll end on that. So anyway, again, we will be back with you tomorrow. Andy and Jim will be with you today at lunch. So make sure you tune them in. Faith and I will be handing the reins over on Mondays at lunch to Andy and Jim, because we're going to be on the road every Monday somewhere in the state covering high school football. Cool. So in addition to Auburn football practice. So we're just going to kind of be all over the place, getting used to our new schedule. But we will be here with you on the podcast each and every morning. And we will still have our show on Friday at noon. So looking forward to that. And then there's some other on location stuff. I know next Monday we'll be back with an on location for Lake Martin Pizza. So, but we'll let everybody know more about that as well. So, but anyway, appreciate all of you that have subscribed. Make sure you pass that word along. And if you like our content, please hit that like button. It helps us out tremendously. All right, Faith, take us to the rest of the day.
I hope everybody has the best Monday ever and a great week.
And a big old